Imagine three individuals. You've got Deirdre. She doesn't do any exercise. She dreads exercise, but at the same time, she wants to be fit. You've got Harry. He's an avid exerciser, but he's consumed with guilt if he ever has to miss an exercise session. And then you've got Sima. Sima feels she has to exercise for her weight and shape, but she's really not enjoying it anymore. On the surface, three very different people, three very different situations, the same unhealthy exercise mindset. We see so much out there about how good exercise is for our well-being, and it really is. But unfortunately, there's a caveat to that. And not all exercise is always good for our well-being. It's really about how we're doing that exercise and how we're relating to that exercise. So how do you know if your exercise mindset is unhealthy? There's three common factors. The first one of these is if you're very rigid with your exercise. So are you following the same strict routine week in, week out? Are you very black and white about what you see to count as exercise? Perhaps you feel that exercise is only worth it if you meet a certain amount of steps, or if you go to the gym only a certain amount of times. You don't think you're going to progress unless you're meeting those demands. The second one is about pressure. Do you feel a lot of pressure from others to exercise, or perhaps you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself? Perhaps you feel you really have to exercise, or you should exercise, or perhaps you're constantly feeling guilty for not doing better. Perhaps you're pressurizing yourself to meet a certain number of steps a day, or burn a certain number of calories every time you go on the treadmill. And the third thing, and perhaps the real crux of all this, is exercising through fear. You fear if you don't exercise, you're going to get ill, you might get fat, you might let others down. Perhaps if you miss exercise for a week, you're not going to be able to cope with your emotions. You're going to be set back on all your progress. You might not be able to get going again. Do you fear that if you're not a certain shape or weight, people are going to judge you? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're not alone. Because unfortunately, this is really common, because it often is the approach that's celebrated in the fitness industry. But this can be really tough if you're experiencing it. It can make us miserable, it can hold us back, it can affect our motivation, and it can leave us more susceptible to injury and illness. And at the most serious end, it can lead to exercise addiction, it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to depression, or even suicidality. I really wanted to make this video because a few weeks back I was listening to the Jeremy Vine show, which is a topical radio show at lunchtime in the UK. And he was doing a feature on exercise addiction, and he was speaking to a number of people who had been addicted to exercise. And now this wasn't Jeremy's fault. He had good intentions, but a lot of the people he had on, it was really clear to me as a psychologist, they had had really serious problems with exercise addiction. But the way Jeremy was responding to them, and the way most of society respond to them, was praising them for their efforts, saying, wow, you're running a marathon every day, that's amazing, calling them machines, and actually unknowingly perpetuating the problem, making it worse. Now, what's often beneath this is that our exercise is too tied up with our self-worth. We feel if we're not exercising in a certain way, if we don't look a certain way, we're not a worthwhile person. Now, if this resonates with you, you might want to check out my video about stopping hating your body. And if you're concerned about your relationship with exercise, I've put a link to a page below from Mind Charity where there's a video about when exercise becomes a problem. There's blogs with others with lived experience, so you might find this helpful to look at. So let's think now about how you can change your mindset for exercise. So we're going to replace that rigidity with being flexible. So be realistic about life. life is going to get in the way. It's going to be very difficult to keep up the same rigid routine week in, week out. And this is why it becomes a pressure and it becomes a stress for us when we try and do that. So be kind to yourself if each week doesn't look the same. Nobody can keep up an exercise routine 7 days, 24/7, day in, day out, forever. It's going to be far better for your mental health and your physical health if you go to the gym, say, twice a week forever, than it is to go 7 days a week for 3 weeks and then burn out. Let yourself take time off to spend time with friends and family, to prioritize other things from time to time. Recognize that it's healthy to have a number of interests in your life, one of which is exercise, but also to have other things about your identity, like being a parent, being a friend, having a career, having hobbies, maybe volunteering. And make sure you're taking rest days. It may feel scary, but actually having rest days is actually going to help you progress. It isn't going to set you back. Even if you have to take a week off exercise occasionally, it's really important you listen to your body. So regular rest days, they help us build muscle, they help us recover, they help us prevent illness and injury, and they help keep us motivated. The second thing then is to let go of that pressure and invite curiosity in instead. See what your body can do rather than setting yourself strict targets that are perhaps unachievable or you can't control. If you're measuring your progress, try and use measures that aren't linked to weight or shape and they focus on things that you can control. So it might be things like whether you're getting stronger, how you're feeling in yourself, whether you're able to get better at certain types of exercises. And focus on progress, not perfection. So some is better than all or nothing. It really is valuable, even if you've got just 10 minutes in your day to go for a walk for 10 minutes, rather than thinking, well, I haven't got the full hour that I wanted to have, so I won't go at all. And then the final thing is finding enjoyment in your exercise. This is really crucial, and we know from research that it really the thing that keeps us going in the long term. Now, this might be challenging for you, particularly if you're on the hating exercise side of the continuum. You might want to check out my video about hating exercise and wanting to be fit. But the thing is to think of movement holistically. So moving away from just planned exercise, just planned sport. Some people might enjoy them, but there's also so many other types of movement you can do. You might also want to think about the other benefits you get from exercise. So a lot of people, for instance, enjoy the social side of it. A lot of people enjoy the sense of achievement. It might be something that can really give you some you time. This is about the quality of your exercise, and the quality of your exercise is just as important, sometimes even more important than the quantity of your exercise. And don't worry if this feels difficult to change. Choose one small thing to start working on. But sometimes we need support from someone else to help us through this, particularly if it's something you've struggled with for a long time. So I do often offer free discovery chats for my one-to-one support. So just drop me an email if you'd like to reach out and you'd like a discussion about your own exercise behaviour. So I hope you found that video helpful. Please do share your thoughts in the comments and any questions you've got for me or any other videos that you'd like me to make.